It's lights out and away we go. Vettel didn't get a very good start at all. He's already been passed by Valtteri Bottas. Lewis Hamilton on Charles Leclerc. Vettel in second place, and through on the outside goes Max Verstappen now. Charles Leclerc's on the inside. Verstappen's challenging, and they touched. Verstappen spins round as he tangles with Charles Leclerc. Bottas leads from Vettel and Leclerc and Hamilton, and then the two McLarens.
Vettel actually moved before the lights went out and stopped again. He may get picked up for a jump start.
Two cars do not go into one at this particular corner.
He's just lost the downforce. He was too close to Vettel as Vettel came across in front of him.
We need to box this lap box.
Copy box, but just to let you know, the car doesn't feel that bad. I know it probably looks bad, but the car is quite okay.
He can't see the damage that is now flying off from that wing as Charles Leclerc stays out for another lap.
That's really risky is what he's doing, because I'm sure the FIA are telling Ferrari he must stop. I think it's actually clear now, Crofty. I think the end plate's fallen off, and his first sector actually is quicker than the race leader.
Yeah, came off, lost the wing mirror.
He is coming in to the pit lane then. Ted, you can see Charles Leclerc coming down the pit straight.
Yeah, I mean, the integrity of the front wing is fine, apart from the fact it doesn't have that, but that is dangerous. Not only could it have hit Lewis Hamilton's head, but it could have bounced into the crowd as well. And losing the time, it's all very steady, isn't it? Come on, Charles, get on with it.
And good news, if you are a Sebastian Vettel fan and you're rooting for him this afternoon, no further action after he was investigated for an alleged false start. Here comes Charles Leclerc towards 130R, and he's got past Kimi Räikkönen. Wow! Is that Max Verstappen retiring from this race? Ted, I think it is.
It is. They cleared a space for him in the Red Bull garage. He was P17 only, wasn't he, with no chance of getting back in through strategy.
And box, Sebastian, box.
Right, so Lewis Hamilton stays out. Gotta hope Sebastian Vettel got that speed down to 80 kilometers an hour. He really did slam on the brakes. Ted, you're outside the garage.
Yeah, just looking down in the pit lane from it, and it's another red soft tyre.
In comes the race leader, Valtteri Bottas, and it is the medium compound tyre that goes on.
Fronts are dead. Fronts are dead.
Okay, copy. Box, box.
20%, Ted, of three of his four tyres.
I was just going to say, I can see the Mercedes mechanics in the pit lane. I wonder if we're going to see Lewis Hamilton in the pits. And here he comes in the pit lane, right down front of me. This is bang on for a one stop. Little late, little slow on the left rear there, but not too bad.
Behind Hülkenberg, Sergio Perez is waiting and ready to pounce as well, and he's got DRS assistance this time as the Renault driver as he pulls out and goes wheel to wheel with Danny Kvyat, and then ahead of the Russian into ninth, and Perez is going to get ahead of Kvyat as well. Two cars getting past the Toro Rosso, who then suffers a huge amount of understeer going through turn 2 as a result of it.
And Vettel 33.4, gap 7.6. We are Sam 2.
That's just a up, man. So now I've got to close the gap, yeah?
Yeah, copy, Lewis. You're doing that already.
Not happy with his strategy today, Lewis Hamilton. Sebastian Vettel is coming into the pits. Now, what's the betting that Lewis Hamilton comes into the pits at the same time as well? Because I can see the Mercedes crew making a move as Sebastian Vettel stops. No, the Mercedes crew might have been making a move, but Hamilton has managed to stay out, or decided to stay out, or called to stay out.
Okay, let's go. Pushing hard now.
What do you think I've been doing this fast? God knows how many laps. Tires are dropping off.
Yeah, copy, Lewis. Box.
Here he comes, right in front of me, Lewis Hamilton. Heaven knows what he's thinking in his helmet. Would he like to have stayed out? Maybe. But I think we should just consider the bigger picture as well, guys. For Mercedes, it's all about the constructors today, I think.
Here's Hamilton going into turn 1, having a look, but deciding against it. And you can see how the Ferrari is struggling compared to the Mercedes as that corner tightens up. Now Hamilton's within 2 car lengths. Now he's got DRS. Now he senses that second place could be his in the race. Sebastian Vettel pulls out to the inside. Hamilton tries to go round the outside, and he just is missing a couple, 3-4 miles an hour of pace advantage. Had he have got that, he'd have got second place. Out of the race is Sergio Perez, and out of the points is Sergio Perez as well. And he has gone off. Valtteri Bottas, winless since Baku, has taken the Japanese Grand Prix. Well done to Valtteri Bottas. Sebastian Vettel is holding off Lewis Hamilton to make it second place for Ferrari. Hamilton finishes third. Mercedes are crowned Constructors' Champions for 2019.
Yes, Valtteri, you are the man. Well done.
Oh, yes!
Missed that feeling, guys. Thank you.
This is what happened to Sergio Perez. Now, did he tangle with a Toro Rosso?
Oh, yes,
The
a bit
answer
of
is
body
yes.
work there, yeah.
So Pierre Gasly was the driver on the inside in a race that started with two cars colliding at turn 2, ends with two different cars colliding at turn 2. Mercedes are Constructors' Champions. Valtteri Bottas is your winner in Japan. It's just him or Lewis Hamilton now for the Drivers' Championship.
Away they go, and Schumacher cuts straight across, and there's a McLaren coming up from the right, and Johnny Herbert has come out well. Johnny Herbert is up into 4th position as Mansell goes through ahead of Damon Hill. So Schumacher leads, Mansell in 2nd, Damon Hill is in 3rd position, and Johnny Herbert is up from 4th into 4th place. And that's Johnny Herbert off. Herbert out of the race, and as I say, I'm going to be very surprised indeed if it is not terminated, at least temporarily.
And Ukio Katayama has just lost control on the main straight, and he's taken on the right-hand side of his car off. It's reasonably damaged, but he's absolutely fine. I'm quite sure about that, just indicating what can happen, as we suspected, if aquaplaning result.
Schumacher gets away with a clear track. Damon Hill goes through, and down the right-hand edge, Lacey still in 3rd position. Brundle is in 6th position. Then there's quite a long gap before Häkkinen goes through, and out goes Frank Lagorce. That is the newcomer from Formula 3000, Frank Lagorce. But the conditions are appalling because that's Fittipaldi out, and that is Michele Alboreto. And out goes the McLaren of Martin Brundle with the right rear wheel missing. The Japanese Grand Prix is being stopped.
The race result will be formed from an aggregate of the first race, the up to lap 14, together with the second part of it.
Damon close up behind the Benetton Ford of World Championship leader Michael Schumacher, who knows that he is under pressure now because he hasn't got just Damon Hill behind him in the Williams Renault. He's got his teammate Nigel Mansell and Jean Alesi. Damon Hill is leading. Damon Hill has gone through on lap 19. Now here is the first major pit stop, well, the first pit stop at all that involved the actual race. Michael Schumacher on lap 19, 8 seconds. The Japanese Grand Prix is going to be dominated by strategy on the track and in the pit lane. As Mansell attacks the Ferrari of Jean Alesi. Now here is the old master at work, Nigel Mansell. He can't see, he's got solid water and he's going for it. And he decides better. Now we're with Mansell. Now this is a supreme master at work, the world champion of 1992. Hill on lap 24, but coming in soon on aggregate, leading Jean Alesi in the Ferrari there by 25 seconds. Nigel looking later, is he going through this time? No, he is not. Now we'll watch out for Michael Schumacher. It's vital that the Williams team should get a good pit stop here. He was 27 seconds ahead, and he's going to get away in the lead, I'm pretty sure. Yes, he is. Damon Hill gets away in the lead, just as Alesi and Mansell look for them. There they are on the right. Wow! Alesi goes through, Mansell goes through, but they are not ahead of Hill on aggregate. So 7.2 miles to go when they started this lap, and they're now through the S-curve, down towards the Degner curve, halfway round the lap when they go under the crossover. And you'll see that coming up in just a moment. You're looking at Michael Schumacher, who was 4.2 seconds, and there is Damon Hill, and he's coming up behind Christian Fittipaldi. And Christian Fittipaldi is well down the field. He's in 8th position, and he's let Damon Hill Hill through.
And Damon Hill really driving superbly. This must be the most pressure that Damon Hill has ever been under.
The gap was 4.2 seconds. Here is Michael Schumacher approaching the start of his last lap, and the gap as he goes across the line is 2.45 seconds. Damon Hill, and on the previous lap, Schumacher took 1.8 seconds out of Damon Hill's lead. It's going to be something like half a second or a second if they keep up the pace that they're doing now. Wow! 2.4 seconds it was, but Michael Schumacher was lapping 1.8 seconds faster on the previous lap. The two team bosses, Frank Williams and Flavio Briatore, are consumed with excitement, as I am now. Hill is approaching the chicane. This is the last time, and I'm looking for the checkered flag now for Damon Hill to come home, completing his race distance. But has he completed it when he does so as the winner of the Japanese Grand Prix to close the World Championship gap between himself and Michael Schumacher to 1 point as they go into Australia? Or will it have increased to 9 points? Well, we'll know the answer very soon. Damon Hill takes the checkered flag, but we wait for Michael Schumacher. Aggregate time, I remind you, is what matters. Here is Schumacher. Now he's got somebody in front of him. Is he going to be delayed? 3.36 seconds! Damon Hill wins the Japanese Grand Prix and takes his 6th win of the year to close the World Championship gap between himself and Michael Schumacher to one small... Oh! Mansell goes ahead of Alesi and he's done it on the track. He's not going to do it on aggregate, but Nigel Mansell puts his hand out of the cockpit and says, "There we are, folks, I'm back." Jean Alesi and Nigel Mansell embrace after a practically race-long battle for 3rd place. This has been a vintage Grand Prix.
So it could be a title decider. 53 laps to come. It's lights out and away we go. And Verstappen crawling away from the start, gets away, but not as well as Charles Leclerc on the inside. Esteban Ocon getting a bit squirrely, as is Sebastian Vettel. Into turn 1 we go. Verstappen is ahead of Charles Leclerc. Leclerc trying to fight this one, but as they now head towards the S's, it's Verstappen who's leading from Charles Leclerc. Sergio Perez ahead of Carlos Sainz, and then Esteban Ocon in 5th ahead of Lewis Hamilton. And the start, Verstappen wasn't as quickly away as Charles Leclerc, but by the time they hit the first corner, he was ahead. Is a Ferrari off? And it is Carlos Sainz into the barrier and out of the race. And we've just seen a replay of what happened to Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, I crashed.
You just saw in the bottom of your screen Sebastian Vettel off in the gravel. This is what happened to Sebastian Vettel. Saw him just edging towards the grass and getting a bit squirrely. He can barely see where he's meant to be braking, and he makes contact, doesn't he? This is Alex Albon.
Oh no, he actually had a failure.
Yeah, he's stuck in 2nd gear.
As Joe goes round.
Pirouetting Zhou Guanyu, nearly collecting Alex Albon and the Williams before he got going once again. The red flag, the race. The rain intensifying, race control have taken the decision to bring out the red flag. Well, as Max Verstappen then reaches the final corner, we'll see if anyone does come in to the pit lane. But we're racing again here at Suzuka. The Japanese Grand Prix is go once more. Verstappen leads the way then down into turn 1. Charles Leclerc follows on in 2nd place. You could barely see Charles Leclerc as Max made his way into turn 1. Then comes Perez, then comes Ocon, then comes Hamilton into the pits. Sebastian Vettel and Nicholas Latifi too have decided at the back of the field to take the gamble and go on to intermediate tyres.
Yeah, totally the right call. It's just you want to be the one that gets out of the pits first. Sebastian, has he done it?
Just.
Is that a safe release?
Well, they're running alongside each other, and Latifi hasn't had to put his brakes on. And now, well, who can get the power down fastest? Sebastian Vettel is ahead of Nicholas Latifi. Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc, and this is where the crews can make a huge difference. George Russell's in, Perez, Ocon, Alonso, no, he stays out. Hamilton also into the pits. Decent stop there for Max Verstappen. They're double stacking there for Checo, as out comes Charles Leclerc and in comes Lewis Hamilton. And down the main straight, Max Verstappen on the intermediate tyres, getting past the Haas of Mick Schumacher as Alonso feeds back into the race in 8th place. There was plenty of room to run side by side. And talking of side by side, and now ahead, Charles Leclerc gets past the Haas of Mick Schumacher.
This is giving it's great for Lewis now. He can get a good run on Ocon. Ocon probably doesn't even know he's there at this moment in time because there's so much spray out there, but he's down the inside of Mick Schumacher.
Charles Leclerc now makes it 4.2 seconds, the gap between Verstappen and himself. Hamilton goes around the outside of the final turn and puts his Mercedes, up into the top 5. George Russell and Yuki Tsunoda going through the S's here. That was textbook. George Russell gets past Lando Norris up into the points. We're on board with Lewis Hamilton now. Towards 130R we go. Are we going to get a pass through 130R in the wet here at Suzuka? They almost touch Hamilton and Ocon as Ocon defends for all his might. Hamilton under braking. Can he find a gap? No. That was the moment. Just going into 130R and almost made contact. On the very last lap, could it possibly happen? You never know. Sergio Perez is giving it everything, trying to get past Charles Leclerc, goes down the inside. It's imperative for these two that contact is not made. Certainly for Charles Leclerc, who doesn't want to crash out of this race like his teammate did right there, because he would be out of the championship, and that would be the end of his title hopes this season. As it is, they don't touch, and Charles Leclerc stays ahead of Sergio Perez. Max Verstappen has taken the checkered flag to win the Japanese Grand Prix. It's a 12th win of the season. Meanwhile, Leclerc goes across the rumble strip. Perez tries to get him on the outside of the final corner. Leclerc comes home to take second place ahead of Sergio Perez. They might have a look at that in the steward's room after this race.
Yeah, so Leclerc's braked. He's just outbraked himself and gone straight.
Hey, what are you doing, mate? He went off and he pushed me off. He came really unsafe.
Charles Leclerc has been given a 5-second time penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. It gives Verstappen a 113-point lead. Because the race resumed after a red flag, full points could be awarded. A 32nd career win then for Max Verstappen. Same as Fernando Alonso.
53 laps of the Japanese Grand Prix to decide the 2000 world titles begins. No! Look out for Schumacher. Look at Raikkonen getting right across. Cracking start by Alonso. He's up into 3rd place on the run down to the first corner. Edging out the Toyotas. Coulthard has had a cracking start as well. Barrichello leads it though from Montoya, with Alonso 3rd. Michael Schumacher looks like he got safely through turn 1.
And there was a Sauber push to the outside, but a little bit of contact. No major damage though. Barrichello well away. Little bit of blue smoke. I think it was more a car touching the ground than anything else. There then is Michael Schumacher. And look at little Alonso then up. And there he goes. Montoya through then on the way into Spoon. So much more speed than Rubens Barrichello. Barrichello really at sea, and he's now under attack from Alonso too. That was amazingly easy, and not a place you normally see Formula One cars overtaking. And it seems as if Raikkonen was shaping up against the back of Panis too, on the way into 130R. Does he make that stick? Barrichello under pressure around the outside, but he has the racing line. Raikkonen did clear the Toyota of Panis, I believe, in the background. Montoya then, 33.8 again, still a second a lap faster than Barrichello, who's a second a lap faster than the rest of them.
It's a terrific pace from Juan Montoya. He's really, really going for it. Michael Schumacher lines up Wilson down the inside. We ride on board with the world champion as he tries on the inside and succeeds. The corner he virtually owns on this racetrack. No one can carry as much speed into that turn as Michael Schumacher. Here is the reigning world champion. This is unexpected. Lap 7. He's lost his front wing. Michael Schumacher has lost his front wing. I don't believe it. We expected drama, but we didn't expect a drama-rama like this. He's got a lot of fighting back to do. But remember, Raikkonen has to win this Grand Prix to deprive Schumacher of the championship. So it's a big deal, but it's not the end of the world yet.
Yes, well, there we saw he was having a go at Sato, and yes, he's just touched him. Look, Sato taking the line into the last chicane, that is. It wasn't down at turn 1, it's on the way into the last chicane, so Michael didn't lose too much time limping back to the pits with a broken nose. But you have to say, he was nowhere near the zone for overtaking there.
And
Montoya going slowly.
Fairly slowly. That's Degner 2. That's a very slow exit speed from Degner 2. You're absolutely right, Martin. Something has happened to Montoya. You can hear the engine stuttering. Listen.
Oh, definitely going extremely slowly. Where is Barrichello? Presumably he's already gone through. And here goes Michael Schumacher then up the inside and takes the corner. And that was what he was trying to do with Sato, but he was further back. And Sato, I think, was again slightly less willing than that. So Schumacher then moves up to P13. Alonso out of the race, so that's good news for Raikkonen too. Alonso out of second place. He will know well that Raikkonen is in second place.
Well, he's lining up Panis now. Look at this, diving down the inside, and Panis puts up no fight whatsoever. Little jink with the steering, but not much. Michael Schumacher dives down. That's the favourite passing place here today. Barrichello then. Whoa, what's this? Michael Schumacher, Ralf Schumacher, straight on. That's the old chicane they've gone down. We're looking, facing backwards. We can see Michael Schumacher, but where's his brother? He's disappeared. Ralf Schumacher, is that him with the... No, it's not. Ralf Schumacher's disappeared. We can't see him.
And he's lost his nose, so Ralf Schumacher pointing the wrong way down the racetrack. He's on... He's now back into the chicane, comes in, and what a clumsy race he's had. And look, this will start with Michael having a go at D'Amata, who for the first time this afternoon, somebody covers the line. And so close was Ralf to hitting the back of his brother, had to take avoiding action. Michael, I do not think, will be penalised for cutting the chicane. He did not gain a position or save a position. And Ralf then, his heart must have been in his mouth. He so nearly took his brother out of the Grand Prix.
Rubens Barrichello on target to win the Grand Prix. Just 2 more corners to go for him. And there's Ralf Schumacher in his slipstream. He's had an eventful afternoon. He's currently in 12th place. Rubens goes through 130R for the last time, hits the braking zone. And he is going to win the Japanese Grand Prix. And well, he will deserve it. A fine drive for Rubens Barrichello. Win number 3 of the season then for the young Brazilian. We were all around to see it then, this historic moment when Michael Schumacher became the first 6-time World Formula One champion. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the greatest achievement in the history of Formula One racing, and it's been done by this man after a very eventful Grand Prix. So it's Rubens Barrichello and Ferrari in the spotlight as they clinch there. Won yet again the Constructors' World Championship. The Drivers' Champion, he's lurking somewhere in the shadows. It's Michael Schumacher. He's a historic 6 times World Champion.
The grid is clear of people, less than 7 seconds. And they get away very quickly indeed, extremely quickly, and a beautiful start by Alain Prost, who goes into the lead with Berger coming up behind Senna. So it is Prost leading, Senna second, Berger in 3rd position, Alessandro Nannini up into 4th place. And the gap is now 4.5 seconds between Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna. He's pulling away from Ayrton Senna at the rate of about half a second a lap.
Prost through the little chicane, which is there to slow the cars down, stopping on his mark. That's a very good stop indeed. Prost a little bit slow on letting the clutch out, but better to do it right than to stall the engine. And here comes Senna into the pits. Even if they turn it round in under 7 seconds, there's no way he can get out ahead of Prost. Prost will have gained on the road. And here is Alain Prost. Senna going for the pits through that little chicane. Prost will be completing his lap, or coming into the chicane. about now. Let's look at the stop. And the stop was slightly slower than Prost, and Prost went past just as they were dropping Senna's car off the jack. So Prost is going to have at least a 6 or 7 second lead. And the stage is now set. This is a sprint to the checkered flag for the two McLaren drivers.
There's a fire at the back of Nigel Mansell's Ferrari. There is a major oil leak of some description. It may be oil dropping down onto the brake caliper or something like that.
The good news is I think the airflow has blown it out as quickly as it lit. It's obviously oil dropping around the exhaust, because that was very much from the exhaust pipe.
And look at that, Senna now right with Alain Prost on lap 40, and Prost has got somebody in front of him that he's got to lap. This could be Ayrton Senna's opportunity to take the lead and the World Championship chance at the same time. Now Prost is past. It was Eddie Cheever, I think that, yes, Eddie Cheever, that they have both lapped. And now, for the first time, we see the two McLarens absolutely together, and you're looking at Alain Prost's car ahead from the camera of Ayrton Senna's McLaren Honda on lap 41 in this 53-lap race. And now it's going to be really enthralling, because Alain Prost can see the McLaren Honda of Senna big in his mirrors. And look, Senna's going through. No, Prost holds him off. Well, it's going to be constant attack, because Senna has got everything to gain and nothing to lose. And Prost has got everything to lose if Senna gets past him. Now, there are very few cars left on the circuit. There's 14 running now out of the 26 who started. And if Prost comes up to any of them, this is the opportunity that Senna's looking for. And he's going through. Ouch! Oh my goodness, this is fantastic. They meet. This is what we were fearing might happen during the race. And that means to say that Prost has won the World Championship. Alain Prost, World Champion of 1989.
That is all over for Ayrton Senna, and it was his own fault because of the slow corner. He wasn't past Prost, and he went into a gap, and Prost had every right to turn into him there. And I'm afraid that was self-inflicted. Senna has got going again. He's back on the track, but he will for sure be disqualified for receiving a push start.
Here's a replay. Now let's look. Senna comes up to try and go through on the inside. Prost moves across, takes them both out.
Yes, well, Senna went for a gap that wasn't there. You could see quite clearly that Prost was already turning into the corner. So they're going to try putting a new nose on the car, maybe.
Well, we're watching now for Nannini. Nannini is in the lead. Alessandro Nannini leads the Japanese Grand Prix as Ayrton Senna leaves the pit lane. And my guess is, and it's very much a guess, that Senna, in the mood that he's in now, on lap 48, will catch and pass lap 49. Can catch and pass Nannini. Ayrton Senna in the second position, which is absolutely no use at all to him in terms of the World Championship. Now up to Nannini. He's going to try and go through into the left-hander, and this is lap 51, 2 laps to go at the end of this one, each lap of 3 and through. Now Nannini smokes up, Ayrton Senna leads, and hold on to your hats, Australia, because it could well be that the World Championship is going to be decided at Adelaide in 2 weeks' time. But Ayrton Senna wins in Japan. Is there going to be a stewards' inquiry? Alain Prost will have one if he can, but Nannini just behind Ayrton Senna in a magnificent finish takes his highest ever place, second.
But the podium ceremony was delayed while the stewards deliberated as to whether he should be acclaimed a popular winner. They were unhappy about the incident with Prost, who had already made his feelings known, and also about the way in which Senna had rejoined down the escape road. Many had thought that Senna had done more than enough to win the race, to keep his championship hopes alive. But in actual fact, it was Alessandro Nannini who was acclaimed a first-time winner from the Williams boys. Senna was thrown out. This gave Alain Prost his third World Championship.
Let the challenge begin. Nobody appears to have stalled on the grid. Vettel having to cover very early on against challenge Jenson Button. Button's half on the grass. Hamilton goes down the outside, sweeps through into second place. Button had to lift the throttle as Vettel ruthlessly put him onto the grass and maintains the lead of the Grand Prix.
Sebastian has to allow the car to pick up traction initially, and then Jenson has got a couple of wheels alongside him, and
it's under investigation. That incident is under investigation by the stewards. Vettel heading him off very much at the pass and stuck him on the grass. Alonso comes up the inside of Massa into turn 1, who presumably,
it's a very compliant Massa.
And this is Jenson Button, who's been catching Lewis Hamilton at least half a second a lap. It looks as if he's kept his tyres intact somewhat better. Will McLaren and yes, they will do exactly what Ferrari did and release one car past the other.
It looked like a mistake, Martin. It looked like Lewis wobbled on the way into the corner. You would never allow someone to pass you in the middle of Spoon. You would just lift off on the way out.
And Vettel pits. He really isn't happy with those tyres. He was losing so much time, as you pointed out, that he's called in at the end.
Well, this is borderline forced up.
And Button away then. The thing about being down the far end of the pit lane, you don't travel very far on the limiter. And look at that. Look at that. Button is ahead of Vettel. So Jenson Button then really making that pit stop work. McLaren doing a fine job there. And now we have a net leader, a new leader in Button. So yet again, the safety car comes out at Suzuka.
Here we get a replay of this incident between Hamilton and Massa. Rubbing wheels remarkably, and there's the front wing end plate just been thrown up. They've got a double end plate on that design, and it's thrown high up into the air.
This is if Lewis didn't know he was coming, isn't it? So they've touched face to face on the front tyres, hence the blue smoke, and flicked the front wing end fence off the Ferrari. And
doesn't take one brave Marshall, it takes 3.
He's gone, and the rest follow. He really did back that pack up. So Button, Vettel, Alonso, Webber, Massa, Hamilton, Schumacher, Petrov, Perez, Di Resta 10. Vettel pits again. Here comes Vettel then. So now we enter a really interesting phase. Button pits then from the lead at the end of lap 36. Exactly where is Sebastian Vettel? He's at the top of the hill. Button is away. It's a 3.3 stops, comfortably in front. Very comfortably indeed.
And the Mercedes team are coming out into the pit lane, so I expect Schumacher will pile into the pits here. Gets very wide through the first part of the chicane, and then he should pile in.
Yes.
There he does indeed. So releasing Jenson Button to what surely must be victory in this Japanese Grand Prix.
And Button, of course, has got the DRS open because he was quite close behind Schumacher, so you do get the benefit of that. And look at this then. Vettel all over the back of Alonso. Alonso will not be letting him cruise around the outside. Vettel quite deep. We'll cut back underneath. There's nowhere to overtake through this next part of the lap. He's trying to become the youngest ever double world champion today, and he's trying to pass the last double world champion, Fernando Alonso. And if Button had the pace, he'd be delivering it now. He wouldn't be letting Alonso get that close. Vettel still keeping very much a watching brief. Button under pressure in the closing stages of the race.
Well, you've got Alonso within DRS range. Alonso will have his engine turned up to absolute, give me everything, qualifying spec. Has he saved enough fuel to be able to use that?
He's having to really switch it back on as Jenson Button. He's not going to give this race away lightly. The Toreador in the prancing horse has been hunting him down, and he's responded beautifully. 0.3 quicker than Alonso now. The gap up to 1.2 now. That sends a very strong signal indeed to Fernando Alonso. Okay, close, but no closer. I've had enough of that. This is my Grand Prix. Button has done what he had to do, and he has been supreme. He didn't lose his head when he got shoved onto the grass. His philosophy was, don't get angry, get even, and he certainly has done that. And you have to pay respect to Fernando Alonso as well. He never ever gives up. He's probably got the third fastest car on the grid, you'd have to say, and he's still right in there, still trying to punish Button before the end of the Grand Prix. How beautifully judged was it by McLaren, by Jenson Button. He can almost switch the engine off now. Jenson Button brilliantly wins the Japanese Grand Prix. Close behind him is Fernando Alonso, the new world champion, Sebastian Vettel. Absolutely sensational race. Mark Webber comes home fourth, only 8 seconds off the lead. There's Alberto Ascari, Juan Manuel Fangio, Jack Brabham, Alain Prost, Ayrton Senna, Michael Schumacher, Mika Hakkinen and Fernando Alonso are the 8 legends who have won back-to-back world titles. Add to that list Sebastian Vettel, who is the youngest of them all, and I think he very much deserves to join that list of great drivers.
Thank you so much, every single one. Every single one. We took nothing for granted, and we did it.
We've had a tremendous afternoon here at Suzuka, a track we all love to visit. The drivers all love to navigate their way around here. It's so rewarding, never more rewarding than when you're on the podium, and we have 3 world-class, world champion drivers up there, and one of them has just won it for the 2nd time, deservedly so. Jenson Button, though, the star of this particular day. What a race, what a victory.
Here come the lights then. When they go out, we'll be racing at Suzuka. And it's go! Cracking start by Coulthard. Look at him coming through the middle. He's already in front of Sato. Fisichella is in front of Button. That's terrible news for Jenson Button. And Coulthard is having a go as well. Christian Klien is also in the mix. 2 cars are off the racetrack. One of them, though, is the local hero Takuma Sato. The other is the Ferrari of Rubens Barrichello. That's terrible news for local hero Takuma Sato. But at the front, a poor getaway for Jenson Button. Has that scuppered his plans here for his first Grand Prix? Alonso has gone from 16th on the grid up to 10th place. Someone's off there, one of the Red Bull cars.
Klien, but he manages to get back on this now instead of gravel there. And look at Alonso, he's just flying through the pack. I think he's up to about 7th already. And a McLaren, Kimi Raikkonen, straight across the chicane. There's a route back on. But look at them, they're streaming past him. Bad mistake there. And there's a car heavily in the barrier on the left-hand side. It's the McLaren, it must be Montoya. Montoya off the road, 2 wheels missing, look, and a big shunt. He'll be okay. Surely the safety car will have to be out there to recover that. It's in a critical position in terms of the exit of the triangle chicane. Safety car is standing by. It must be deployed, surely.
You cannot overtake each other until they cross the start-finish line. But it looks to me like Ralph's done a very good restart here. Look at the gap already over Fisichella. But what about Alonso and Michael Schumacher? That's going to be absolutely critical. The battle for 7th place, because that Ferrari will struggle from the restart. And here we go. It's in fact Schumacher attacking Coulthard. Alonso was not close enough, and Schumacher dives down the inside. That's amazing. That really bucks the trend of what we've seen so far.
It's clearly past.
I beg your pardon, he's gone past. So Schumacher up into 6th place. And Alonso now has got to get past Christian Klien. Here comes Alonso having a go at Klien around the outside into the chicane. No prisoners taken there. He'll have to give the place back to Klien there because he cut the chicane. But Klien takes it back. Well, he will take it back down the straight.
Yeah, Alonso, Klien did the only thing he could, and that's stay to the right-hand side. Now Alonso's going to have him back down the pit straight, and so you can actually say he had a slight advantage by coming from up high there, but he did all the right things, gave the place back, and then snatched it straight back again, and put himself into play with Michael Schumacher.
Look already how far back Alonso has fallen.
Yeah, you've got to wonder if he's actually got a problem. I think he's got a problem. It's not accelerating. He was very slow through 130R, and look, Alonso then with a problem, and just fell back from 130R. I was surprised how much Michael pulled away from him, but then down the pit straight didn't accelerate at all. And why would that be? He's not letting himself back past Klien again, is he?
Down at Renault, unbelievably, it was some miscommunication, a mix-up between the FIA and Renault. The FIA radioed the Renault pit wall, said, "I'm sorry, Alonso's got to let Klien past." They said he's already done it. They said, no, let him past. So Alonso let Klien past. Then the FIA come on the radio again and say, we've changed our mind.
Well, he's just got past him again, Ted. So I think that's the 3rd time he's passed him today, at least. But this time, hopefully, it's for keeps.
He's coming in on lap 13 despite 5 laps under the safety car, so we're not seeing a true performance. Fisichella is the true leader of this race. We can discount, I think, now, Ralph, from that in terms of the pace. That's very early, isn't it? What about that? Renault pitting quite early on. I thought they'd be into the lap 20s. We believe it's for Fisichella, the current leader, and then Michael goes to the inside, tries to block the line into 130.
Oh my word!
And Alonso having none of it, straight around the outside, and now Raikkonen has got a chance too. Michael had nothing, he had to go defensive, and Alonso just steamed on the racing line, round the total bravery, total confidence in the driver you're going around the outside of, to know he's not going to run you off track. That would be the mother and father of all shunts if you connected in the middle of that corner.
180 miles an hour around the outside of the 130R corner. I've never seen anything like it. Enormous bravery by Alonso.
They've just got to short fill that McLaren and get him going again. Otherwise, he's away first, and surely he's going to beat Mikey. Now he's got a long way to go. Michael's got away first, and well, that is critical for the race. And look, Webber goes through, Coulthard doesn't. So Coulthard's lost another 2 places there, but Alonso was way back there as well, wasn't he? So these two have cleared Alonso. Is this Raikkonen finally getting past Michael Schumacher? Alonso is just behind them. So a big swap around, Alonso having to pit earlier. He lost out. He was the man at the head of this trio. Now he's at the back of it. This is where he's faster than Michael. Michael's got obviously carrying more wing or something, and then he's in the dirty turbulent air at 180 odd miles an hour. Now he's got to slip up the inside.
Go on, go on.
Oh, and Michael has gone very deep again. Can Fernando get a cleaner run? Because Michael's got to turn harder right now as they come onto the pit straight. Fernando's got a much better chance this time of getting down, doing a Raikkonen, getting down the outside, and he's just got to storm in, don't lift off the throttle, sweep in and steal the racing line.
Raikkonen, who's now only 3 seconds behind Giancarlo Fisichella, can close up and pass. If Alonso, who's less than a second behind Mark Webber, can pick up an extra point here or there, it could make all the difference in the Constructors' Championship, particularly as Montoya will score nothing. He's out of the race. Look at this though. Alonso's going for it down the inside, on the grass, 2 wheels. Fernando Alonso, what a brilliant move once again. Another fantastic pass.
Stunning. Alonso is totally fearless today. He got a better run out of the chicane, picked up the slipstream. Webber thought he'd covered him off, so Alonso took a little bit of grass to give himself the extra space he needed.
3 laps to go. Raikkonen has taken 1.3 seconds on that lap out of Giancarlo Fisichella, and now the 22nd lead of a few laps ago is down to just half a second, 2 car lengths, and well, you'd have to say that Kimi Raikkonen is looking very, very good here. When and where will he attack Giancarlo Fisichella?
This is the exit of Spoon again then, and Fisichella up the inside. He's now moved to the outside, the racing line, and Raikkonen is absolutely hauling him in. And again, he goes defensive when he doesn't need to. It puts him out of shape then for the exit then, as we saw earlier on. Has he got enough traction to keep the McLaren behind him? He's really left himself to be a sitting target now. He'll have to go defensive down the inside. He'll have to go tighter than that. Oh, and they nearly touched. Can Raikkonen sweep in? Yes, he can. Brilliant.
What a brilliant move! Side by side down the straight. Grand Prix racing at its absolute finest. Kimi Raikkonen sweeps through to take the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix. He started from 17th place.
Brilliant stuff from Raikkonen.
Kimi Raikkonen then heading for his 10th Grand Prix victory. And what a year he has had. And what an amazing Japanese Grand Prix he has had as well. Fighting his way through. It seemed as though he lost his chance when he got tucked up behind Jenson Button and Mark Webber, and Fisichella had a 20-second advantage over him, but he's managed to whittle it down. Brilliant strategy this afternoon by the McLaren team. And here he comes then. Takuma Sato there has caused a few problems this afternoon, but not as Raikkonen sweeps through to lap in. And one of the most dramatic Grand Prix in living memory comes to a close with Kimi Raikkonen, the winner. Absolutely sensational performance. In second place will be Giancarlo Fisichella. Raikkonen loves that. And in third place, Fernando Alonso. Here is the hero of the day.